Hello, and welcome to another episode of History Bluffs, where truth is stranger than fiction. And now let's introduce our host of the show, Ms. Gina.
Hi, everybody. How are you? It's me, Gina. Welcome to History Bluff. Today is the night where you will find out whether truth is stranger than fiction. We are going to do a fun show tonight, and we're all wearing fun hats just for no reason at all. It's not like it's National Hat Day or anything, but we'll maybe unpack what that means later. Who knows? Anyway, so welcome to the show. We are going to have fun tonight. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how it will work. Tonight we have picked one topic, and all of the historians that will be coming on will be telling you a story related to that topic. One of them will be bluffing. The other two will not be. And there will be somebody also, a wonderful contestant tonight to help sort it all out with you. So ladies and gentlemen, let's just get our historians out here. Then I'll give you the real rules of the game and we'll get going. So first from Chicago, Illinois, let's welcome Carlos Rivera. Woo, hi, Carlos.
Hello. Happy to be here.
I love that. The first thing that I wanted just to talk about would be your hat. It's got what looks like the Golden Girls on it. That's fantastic.
It is the Golden Girls. You have a good eye for Golden Girls.
I have good glasses.
Yeah, so good glasses for Golden Girls.
What's up with that? Are you a fan? Why'd you get that?
Who's not a fan of the Golden Girls? Who doesn't love
the
Golden Girls? Yeah. Look at the writer roster for that show, and you'll see all the big comedy writers of the day over the past 20 years. You'll see them all have an association with that show and that writer.
I didn't know that. What a fun neat tidbit of information. That's why you're one of our historians. You're smart.
Am I a historian now? Oh, you mean in other episodes? Yes.
Yes, very cool.
Yes.
So that's Carlos, everybody. And let's move on. We're going to bring in our next historian, and his name is Adam Bellis, and he's normally Tech Adam, but tonight he's going to be telling stories. Hey, Adam, I love your hat.
Hi, it's good to be here. Thanks for the hat compliment. The hat compliment.
Yeah. Hey, I have a question for you. You're a tech guy, right?
I am.
Do you play video games ever?
Some selectively, yes.
Okay, your choice. Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man?
I'm gonna go Ms. Pac-Man. The music's better.
Oh, that was solid. It's like you thought about that before. That was a quick answer, but I agree with you on that. But they both give me anxiety when I play them. So once you hit the cherries, those ghosts are crazy. So they get crazy. You try to get them, and then sometimes they get you before your cherries run out. Oh, it's crazy.
That's the life motto. Sometimes you get the ghost, and sometimes the ghost gets you.
That's a good motto. Well, we'll keep that quote. And ladies and gentlemen, if you quote it, you got it here first at History Bluffs. And then we have one more historian tonight, and his name is Chris.
We actually have two more historians, Gina, because Carlos tonight will be our
he's a
judge
contestant.
testant.
That's why I introduced him first. He is the best part of the whole show. He's our contestant tonight. I forgot. He's usually a historian, but tonight he represents you, the studio audience. And so Adam's our first historian. Let's get our second real historian. It is Chris Berry. Everybody say hi to Chris.
Hello.
Chris, what are you doing, Chris?
Hello.
Hi, Chris. What's up with you? How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. Good to be back.
Hey, Chris, if there are a bunch of dogs or wolves together, do you know what that might be called?
A gaggle.
A gaggle of dogs?
Gaggle of geese is a grouping. No. It's a wolf pack.
It's a wolf pack.
Wolf
awesome.
pack, yeah.
Question and bonus points if you know it. What do you call a group of alpacas?
I don't know. A pack of alpacas.
That was a good guess, but you're not right. So we're going to save the points for somebody else. But that's awesome. But everybody, welcome, Chris. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Now, you didn't get it correct, but that doesn't mean you're off the show. We'll come back to you in just a minute.
What was the right answer?
What's that?
Hack pack.
A hack-a-pack?
Hack pack.
Not yet. Not yet, everybody. Okay, so now here comes our last historian. Everybody say hello to Darren Humphrey. Hello,
Hello,
Darren.
Darren.
Hi,
Hello.
Darren.
Good day.
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Darren, so you've been in that house of yours for a long time as we see all those cool masks around there.
That's
Where,
right.
where did you get those from? Where did those
All over the place. Each one is from a different country
very
and
cool.
was made in that country.
Before you got that house, how many times would you say you moved?
How many times had I moved as an adult?
Yeah, as an adult. Or even a child. It doesn't matter.
Maybe 4 times as an adult.
Oh, so that's not as much packing as the average person. I think the average person moves to college, then they get an apartment, then they get married, and then they get a house, and then they get divorced, then they get another house. So, like, it's funny how things. Well, that's 4 times right there. But you're still
That's 4
married,
times.
so that's good.
I'm still married. I even found my wedding ring.
Oh, where was it?
It was in the chair that I sit in, and it had been there for 6 months, and I could not find it.
I love that already. That's great. That it was just like.
Classic.
Same thing happened with my glasses the other day.
What happened?
Same thing happened with my glasses the other day.
You found them in my chair?
Yes, I found them in your chair. I'm sorry I didn't let you know. I locked the door when I left, so
Thank you. Appreciate
no harm,
it.
no foul.
That's good because that protects all the masks from being taken. That's awesome. Okay, so we're gonna get right into the show now, and I wanted to let the whole studio audience know that tonight's stories will all be inspired by one word, and that word is pack. And in case you couldn't figure it out from all of my unique questions, so we're gonna get started. I'm gonna tell you the rules, and then we will go over to the historians and start the game right away. So Alan is gonna be our tech tonight. Hi, Tech Alan.
Hello. I
hi.
just kind of stumbling my way through this, but everything's not going to be perfect tonight. But that's okay because we can roll with the punches.
Heard. So hint, hint. So anyway, we're going to start now, and let me tell you the rules. And Alan, if you make a mistake, that's all right. No worries. The rules tonight, our historians were given the topic just a little while ago. They're going to take the last 2 minutes right now for just a little bit more research in case they just want to finalize or piece together their story, how they're going to present it. But when they talk about their stories, the person who is bluffing, they will be completely bluffing. In other words, their story will not, they might have some historical figures in there that may be accurate to the times and things like that. So they may make a couple of references, but the whole story as a whole is not true. The premise and the actual story is a bluff. If somebody is telling the truth, it must be a completely true story. So they cannot tell any parts of the story as a lie. If they don't know it, they'll just tell you. If they don't know a portion, they'll just tell you don't know when it comes time for questions. But they cannot lie. The last thing, we just ask all of you out there to please, if you are going to Google and look up anything that we're talking about, please don't share it in the comments, because what we'd love is for the entire studio audience who does not necessarily want to find out which story is true or which story is not. We would love for them to be able to play along and not be given the answer just yet. So if you know who the bluffer is because you know the story or you know that they are lying, please don't let anybody else know. And that also goes for the historians. They are not allowed to look anything up on Google that might indicate who or whether the other contestants are lying. So we're going to jump right into it. Darren, did you have something, or was that just like,
Yeah, just touchdown.
Okay, touchdown. With your fingers, it's adorable. Okay, so that's like the touchdown you do when you flip
Paper
that
football.
paper. Yeah. So let's start. Let's just get started. We're gonna go in the order that you are from top to bottom. So Carlos will be our judge / contestant for the show, and we're gonna start with Adam. Whenever you hear the boom, your time will start, and that goes.
Adam's going to start during round one.
That's good, Alan. See, I messed up. I should have queued you up for that. So
That's fine.
Look at us making it
We
happen.
all are flawed, and it's perfectly fine. So I
Yes,
believe
you two
Adam's
are
going to
the
lead round one. Thank you, Carlos. Adam's going to lead round one, right?
Yeah, he's gonna lead it.
Yeah,
You know
let's
when he's
do it.
gonna lead it? Right
Let's do
now.
it. I've got something juicy. Oh, my timer's up. I'm going. Okay. All right, I have a wonderful tale to tell you. You, of course, have probably bought Colombian coffee or been in the store and seen Colombian coffee in your life, and you probably, maybe even have heard of Juan Valdez, who is a completely fictional character. He was made up for the ad for Colombian coffee. However, there's also a pack mule in the imagery next to Juan Valdez, and that pack mule's name is Conchita. And I have news for you. She is very, very real and has a story. So what happened was, in the early part of the 20th century, there was a lot of tumultuous political uprising in Colombia. Okay, and in the capital of Bogota, there was violence. Actually, some really bad violence in the 1950s. It was actually called La Valencia. It was called the Violence, and there were riots, and it was awful, and the town was burning, and it was and everybody had to flee the city. Well, there was one family, the Gutierrez family, Marco and Maria, and their son and daughter, Jorge and Selena. They were trapped in the city, and they were trying to get out, and they were accosted by robbers, and Marco was wounded while he was trying to help them out.
Oh my gosh, that's a great cliffhanger, Adam. So that ends your round one. We will learn more about the story in just a bit, but first I'm going to go to the other panel. Is your time still going? No, it's stopped. Okay, so I'm going to go to the other panelists. Darren, tell us what your thoughts are so far on Adam's story.
Well, I've actually been to Colombia, and none of those masks are from Colombia. But, you'd think I would have heard of this, but I haven't heard of this. It's very puzzling.
It is very puzzling. Plus, I thought Valencia was a college, but, it is what it is.
In orange.
Yeah. Oh, in orange. Okay. Hey, Chris, what do you think?
Well, I immediately took issue with his pronunciation of Bogota. So that was one thing. And then he mentioned the family. I'm sure very nice people. But then he said that they were hit by robbers. Wouldn't it be banditos? I'm just thinking out loud. I don't know.
I see. Get it? I think that is the correct word. Did you know Frito Bandito got a lot of grief from the Latin community, as probably they should. Anyway, let's not get into all of that. Carlos, you are our judge and our panelist tonight, our contestant, if you will.
You're Judge Testant.
Yeah. What?
Not a panelist. Judge Testant.
Judge Testant. Judge Testant. What is your testimony for this round?
Well, if I learned anything from the film Encanto, from the Disney people, I learned that Colombia has a troubled past, which would drive people into the wilderness to discover magical houses of magic. So there is some truth to what Adam is saying. So
Thank you.
I'm optimistically skeptical.
Okay, so you didn't quite call him a liar, but you are not 100% on board, but you're interested. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay, all right. Thank you,
I'll
Carlos.
take
It was a good
I'll take
observation, except for I didn't understand the magic part.
Well, then you've never seen Encanto, and I feel sorry for you.
Please don't spoil it for me, okay? Wow.
There's a magical house.
Shit. Okay, well, all right. Well, now I don't have to watch it now, I suppose. Okay, so let us go on. We're going to switch on to our next contestant. That's going to be Darren. And Darren, tell us your interpretation of the subjective pack.
Great.
Starting?
So
Hold on. Let's give you the actual cue. All right, we're gonna do this right this time.
Ready?
Everything.
Yes, I am ready.
Now.
All right, so last show, if you listened, we went back to 1974, and I'm going to take you way back to 1974 BC. And my story takes place in ancient Babylon. Now, you won't find Babylon on a map, but you will find Iraq, which is where Babylon was located, just south of modern-day Baghdad. And nowadays, when you think of Iraq, we think of the Gulf War and all of our soldiers who served. So with that in mind, my story is going to bring a whole new meaning to the phrase, "Thank you for your service." In ancient Babylon, the temple of Venus was packed with virgins. The temple law stated that before a woman could be married, she was required to go to the temple, wrap her head in white cord as a symbol of purity, and wait in line for her turn to be of service to the goddess Venus. There were always hundreds of women waiting. And they were all waiting for the same thing, which is for a stranger to come up and throw them a piece of silver and say to her, I beseech thee, goddess Venus, to favor thee. And then they were required by law to leave the temple with that first person.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so they were given silver and they were wait, are we still going? Sorry. I don't mean to.
No, you're not still going. The buzzer started before the
did.
end of the time, but his time is now
startled
up. Yeah,
Okay,
sorry
great.
about that.
Pretty clear to see when the clock is done. I think anyone can tell when the clock is done.
Says
Yeah,
the
they-
judge testant. Believe the judge.
Okay, I believe the judge, and then those of you who are listening on our podcast believe the judge. Okay, so hey, Chris, what do you think about that story about the virgins? The virgins.
Well, I tell you what, I am originally from New York, and I used to commute on the Long Island Railroad, and one of the lines I would occasionally take stopped in Babylon. So I can't tell you about ancient Babylon, but I can tell you about Babylon on Long Island, and at the Long Island Railroad station, there were frequently people waiting there. So I think there's a sentiment of truth in his story so far.
That is true. I would agree, but I also, and then ancient Babylon was a rock because all of those people were climbing, and then that's where all the tongues came out. Like, you know, so I think he is sort of onto something. So, Adam, what do you think?
Well, yeah, this is tricky. See, he's gone so far back in time that he, like, you know, a lot of people were good with history, like the Civil War, Civil Rights era, and then, you know, maybe Christopher Columbus time. But he's gone so far back. How are we going to know what's going on? So we're reaching here. We got to sew together the facts. I haven't heard anything out of sorts yet. But
Okay, my understanding is that far back, the people who would have sewn together the facts or sewn anything would have been the women. So I don't know how they sewed anything while they were waiting in line.
probably the virgins. Probably the virgins.
Yeah. So Carlos, let's get your final word on this because you are the final word.
As the judge testant, I know that the 70s BC were a crazy time, but I can't help but think that Darren may just be trying to pitch us his fanfic. A line of virgins, and all you need to do is throw a coin at him, Darren. That sounds very fanficky.
Very fanficky from our judge testant.
To be clear, fanfic of what?
Your fan, I don't know, your personal fanfic for the book that one day you'll put in supermarket aisles across the country. And I'm just saying that if in the next round a very pale hero shows up, I'm going to be very suspicious. Very suspicious.
I like that he drew off of Venus, the planet that was never hadn't been discovered yet. So let's move along to our round. Oh, Alan, I'm going to turn this over to you. You know what it's time for right now?
Has everyone had a shot yet?
No, third contestant. Third
Oh,
historian has
excuse
not
me.
spoken
This whole judge thing is messing me up. I'm sorry, Chris.
I'm
Chris.
sorry, I'm the judge, you're the host.
Yes, thank you. Chris,
Yeah.
for you, your
I'm
time,
good.
you do get to go in this round. I apologize profusely,
All right.
and your time does begin right now.
All right, thank you so much. You know, and totally unrelated to the what just happened. I just want to say this topic sucks. It sucks like a vacuum because I'm talking about vacuum packed products and the how this came up. So if you go back, and I'm going to go back. So Adam was a little upset that Darren went back to 1974 AD BC. Well, I'm going to go back 5,000 years ago. Here's the situation at that time. You know, man hunted, he killed things, he ate it right away, fresh, right? But the sun comes out, things spoil in the heat. They have to figure out how are we going to preserve this food. So about 500 years ago, they started drying meat as a way of preserving food. 125 years ago, they added salt to things. You know, about 100 years ago, they discovered refrigeration. So all this was good progress, right? Well, then, boom, World War II happens, and we had perhaps one of the most critical inventions in terms of meat preservation Nothing to do with adding chemicals or anything. But I'm going to tell you more about that in my next couple of rounds.
No, you get a few extra seconds. Go, Chris, go.
Well, I'm still going to tell you more about that in my
Okay.
next couple of rounds.
All right, good thinking. I think that's awesome that you save a little bit of time, because we're talking about meat preservation, and I'm okay to wait a little longer. So Adam, I'd love your thoughts on that story, that portion of the story.
Okay. Well, first of all, I protest that he just looks like my brother right now. So, I mean, look at us. We got the glasses and the hair. I'm trying to get over that and get to the story. But for the point of the story, I think he's trying to preserve the fact that he's not lying, which he is. This is piecemeal together from various. I don't know. I think he's been watching the Nature Channel. No, I'm not buying this at all. This sounds really far fetched.
So let me just get this straight. You just sick burned him by saying the story about food was piecemealed together.
Yes.
Very
Yes, I
good.
did.
Very good, Adam. You're amazing. Darren, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'm just a little bit offended that he started out with a feint of like trying to go back further in time than I did with my story, but now it's just some lousy story from 100 years ago. Like, you're supposed to care about that.
The red herring.
It was good trickery. I applaud that.
Raw.
I will say.
Raw.
Yeah. Judge Testant, your thoughts?
As the judge tested, I have to agree with Darren on this one because I'm fairly certain that Chris said 5,000 years first, which is why he would be before Darren, and then change it to 500 years, which is extremely sus. So, Madam Host, for this first round, which I think is about to end, I'm leaning hard that Chris is the bluffer. That's what I'm thinking right now. That may change depending on the outcome of round two, but right now, round one, Chris is looking real sus.
All right, so our Judge Testant has just declared that the vacuum pack round is packed with lies. Okay, so that's the first round. So we're going to revisit Darren's story right now that was from the 1970s BC. E. I think they added an E. I don't remember why. Anyway.
Before Common Era.
Yeah, before Common Era, and no longer before the C word. Okay, so Darren, what is your second? Well, we're gonna start another round right now, right, Alan?
The round two is what we're starting.
Darren, start us off. Your timer will begin as soon as your face is on the screen, and I say the word start.
So my story gets weirder. Thank you very much. Thank you. So after accepting the piece of silver, this virgin would go home and have sex with the man she just met. And then in that moment, she would somehow become Venus, the goddess, and pay her duty to Venus. And then at that point, she would be free to marry anyone she wanted, except for the man who she just met and had sex with that moment. No matter how much money he offered, he couldn't purchase her sex, and he could never marry her. It was weird, huh?
Yeah.
And so every woman was supposed to do this, no matter how beautiful or deformed or ugly they were. So naturally, if you were a beautiful woman, someone would pick you right away. But if you were deformed or something, you might spend months in the temple because you were not allowed to go home once you came to the temple until someone gave you silver.
Oh my gosh, this is so barbaric. This is, I guess it was the time.
It's ancient history.
Okay, all right. Chris, what are your thoughts? Oh my gosh.
I am sitting here wondering if Darren just accidentally came across an episode of Married at First Sight on the TV a little while ago and said, hey, I could adapt that into a story.
Fanfic.
I'm a little skeptical.
I love this because any TV producer could watch this show and get ideas for reality shows. That's a great point, Chris. Adam, I'd love to get your take on this.
Okay, well, yeah, it's actually starting to form up a little bit, and I only say that because, let's face it, humanity has a miserable, terrible record with patriarchal domination over the females of our race. And this is lining up with that terrible history. So just on that front alone, it's like, oh, okay, that's plausible. I don't know. I'm still feeling like I'm 50-50 on the truthiness of this one.
Yeah, as a woman, I think I'd be offended by the whole thing, unless I didn't get picked, and then I think I'd start thinking, wait a minute, why am I not being picked? Like, that would suck. Carlos, Judge Testant, what do you think?
As the judge testant, I think that Darren's fanfic is getting a bit dark now. I don't see why a woman couldn't pick the person that gave her the silver. That seems like such an odd rule. The person that picked you to and have sex with you, and that's the reason you can leave the temple. You can't marry them, but you can marry anybody else. It's like, why not allow them to be an option? Is the temple looking up for your best interest? What's going on here? It sounds real sus.
Has religion really ever looked out for your best interest?
It's
That's what I'm talking about.
now. I thank you, Judge Teston. That was the final word on that. And Darren, we'll get back to more of that story because, I mean, she's tainted goods in my opinion, but I don't know. Maybe they didn't think about that kind of stuff then. All right, so we're going to go to our next contestant, our next historian. That's going to be Chris. And Chris is going to continue his vacuum pack story full of fun.
Yes, I am indeed. So vacuum packing really came about in the 1940s. It was invented by a German inventor, a guy named Carl Busch, no relation to the Anheuser-Busch family. But Carl Busch started this large-scale vacuum packing during World War II. It had industrial-sized usage, and it was primarily used for food. The process where, air basically is removed, and it reduces spoilage because if there's no oxygen, there's no bloom opportunity for the nasty bacteria and such. He was inspired by dehydrated foods. He had seen food dehydration where things shrivel up. And I'm not saying that it reminded him of anything else, but he saw food shrivel up, and he said, well, that is interesting because that stays a little bit longer. I wonder what I could do to make it stay even fresh, even longer than that. And he discovered vacuum packing.
Ooh, that's awesome. Okay, because I thought dehydration and vacuum packing were the same thing. We're learning something today, unless he's lying.
No, they're not.
So, hey, Adam, tell us your thoughts on that because that was some pretty hefty rounding.
Man, it's really starting to sound much like Darren's story. Chris's story's sort of taking a tack into the reality of the situation where it's like, all right, this is getting believable. Food was going bad. They figured out a way to fix it, and the timing lines up with pre-industrial revolution and all that stuff. So I don't know. I guess I'm signing on to Chris's story at this point. I'm flipping.
Wow. So you're saying that both stories are plausible, which in essence makes you the liar, I think, right?
No, see, that doesn't work either. Because
this is getting good. All right. So Darren, tell us what you think.
I'm not sure if Adam's a liar. I just think he doesn't know when the Industrial Revolution happened. It was not during but more to the point of Chris's story, everyone knows the real food innovation that came out of World War II was Spam, which is still with us on supermarket shelves today and in my pantry.
Is that vacuum packed?
No. Canned.
It's canned.
Oh.
All right, Judge Tastic, tell us, what do you think?
I think Chris is trying to suggest to us that only 500 years ago did humanity discover we can dehydrate things to make it last longer, even though that would be the 5,000 years ago thing. Like that would be the thing where you let something dry out in the sun and you'd be like, oh, it's totally dry, but it tastes good. And I didn't have to do anything to dry it out. I just let the sun dry it and it's dehydrated. That's not something that we only had the power to do 500 years ago. I give credit to the ancient ones to have figured that out a long time ago, along with writing.
Oh, that's a good question. What kind of food did the virgins eat while they were waiting in line? Was it dehydrated?
Were they waiting? Did they have food in line?
Did they? I mean, if they were there for months,
Karen, what did your fanfic say?
Yeah,
Do
Darren.
you want to hear part 3? Is that what we're doing?
No,
Yeah.
we will get to
Play
part
some
3
sexy
after.
music.
We
yet.
still have one person
Not
in this
yet.
round, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll come to you, Darren. If you have answers for that, great.
Get the sexy
Bonus
music
points,
ready,
if not,
Alan.
no worries. Adam, your story was really intriguing about Conchita, and I didn't know Juan Valdez was fake. That was news to me. He looked so real, and they had him in commercials and everything. But Conchita was real. So last we left, Marco had been hit by the robbers. Continue. Go ahead and start right now.
Okay, so Marco, completely beaten and bloodied, and is in real bad need of first aid. He's on the ground. His wife Maria and his 2 kids, again Jorge and Selena, they're trying to help. So the robbers, they took their valuables, pretty much everything they had that was of vital value, and they left. So they're bleeding. The streets are on fire. They got to get out of the city. So they hobble. They kind of help Marco to like a silo grain processing area, and there's a mule that somebody left behind. And so it's a pack mule, and they're like, we got it. So they grabbed the rest of the stuff that they had, a few clothes and items and a little bit of food that wasn't stolen from the robbers. They loaded onto the pack mule. They put Marco on the back of the pack mule, and the pack mule helps lead them to safety out of the city. They make it into the forest and through, and they find a village of safety and meet up with other refugees where they can sort of regroup themselves.
Oh my gosh. So this was Conchita that took them there?
That's right. That was Conchita the mule.
That's fascinating and also plausible. So this is getting very interesting. Darren, what are your thoughts, please?
Well, I'm picturing this. The streets are on fire. There's chaos everywhere. And I'm wondering how did they find Marco? Did they just shout for him? Marco!
Come on.
Okay, Chris, make him stop.
I think that
Give him a tomato, Alan. My God.
Oh, wow.
There we go. There it is.
Technically, that was right for the picking, though. So.
Okay.
Okay, good job, Chris.
my comment's going to be pretty short here because so Conchita, the pack mule, took all of them to safety through these hellfire streets of Colombia. I think that Adam is just trying to make a jackass out of all of us.
Good.
Give him tomatoes too.
Yeah, exactly. Tomato.
There it is.
There it is. Carlos, our judge Tastic, what do you think? I'd love your input.
See, Adam is most directly using the topic, which is pack. It's clear. It's a pack mule. It's clear, which is why it's suspicious that he is most on point. So I wonder if it's a scam. It's a distraction. So I don't know. I feel like
we need an answer. Who won this round?
I feel like Chris is still losing.
So Chris is still taking the lead for the lie.
I mean, Chris is winning in terms of winning my suspicion.
All right. Well, I really feel like any of these stories could make it or break it. So this is going to be the beginning of the, what is it, Alan?
Oh, it's the third round, which we also refer to as round 3.
Okay, so now we're going to go into round 3. I'm going to actually start off with you, Chris. This is going to be your last round of your story to finish up the invention of vacuum packed food.
Okay, I am ready.
You ready to start?
I'm sure I'm ready to start.
And
Okay,
Chris has how much time, Gina?
Oh, this is a little bit less. I'm sorry. I should have told you guys you get a little less time, so I hope that you can keep it concise. And we're going to start right now.
Well, it's going to be 45 seconds?
Yes. Well, let's see. What kind of timer are you going to put up?
As long as you're cool with 45 seconds, we'll put up the 45-second timer.
I love it. Thank you, Alan.
All right, here we go. And we're going to give you a boom.
There it is. Okay. So we are now going to fast forward from the 1940s to 1963. And Carl Busch realizes they are missing opportunity here with just having these huge industrial-sized packaging, the vacuum packaging machines. So he recreated his invention and basically made it smaller, more mobile for other people to use. And that's when today people have vacuum packaging machines in their house. They use vacuum packaging on other things too, like books, guns and ammo, puzzle pieces, silverware. You can vacuum pack wine even nowadays, and it all because of Carl Busch realizing there was opportunity sitting on the table.
That's very interesting. Is that where the term bushel comes from?
No.
Okay. All right,
No.
I tried. Adam, what are your thoughts?
Well, I love vacuum packing stuff. I've got a deep freezer, so naturally this story appeals to me. But I don't know. This is too clean. I've decided that Chris is the bluff. I'm going with our judge testant, his suspicion. Yeah, Chris is right up there. It's too convenient.
It's too convenient. Okay, you find vacuum packing more convenient than 100 virgins. I like that. Okay, Darren, what are your thoughts here?
I'm surprised that an American inventor thought in the 60s, you know what this needs to be? Smaller. I thought it would be the other way around. I thought it'd be like vacuum packing Buicks and Cadillacs and, oil rigs. So I don't know.
I see.
Oh,
Well,
nice.
that's a part of the story that actually did scan for me because it's less shipping. I would assume less cost in shipping. I don't know.
Well, I guess it's true if you shrink down the Cadillac, if it just crushes it down.
Yeah, but does it uncrushed after the fact? I don't know the rules on
I don't
vacuum
know.
packing. We had Steel Meal when that came out, but I don't know. Anyway, so Carlos, Judge Tastic, what do you think?
I could have believed most of it, but then he said they vacuum packed guns and ammo. And maybe there was some reason to vacuum pack ammo. Maybe it lasts longer. Maybe it's less delicate if you vacuum pack ammo. But vacuum pack metal like guns, like a Glock, you're going to vacuum pack it for freshness? Come on.
That's a
Come
good
on.
point. What is the shelf life of
Increased
silverware or something like
Increased
that?
threat.
Silverware maybe because it might rust, but a gun?
I don't know, but I do know a lot of things come in plastic that seems hard to get into. So I don't know. This is crazy. So I'm going to go to the next contestant though, or next historian, Adam. It is your turn to finish up your round 3 of your story. So this is your last and final round. 45 seconds on the clock, and you start right now.
Okay, the Gutierrez family, they made it out of the city thanks to Conchita, the pack mule, the very pack mule of my story. Now, fast forward about 10 years, the year's 1958, okay? And that's when the coffee growers of Colombia are looking to start advertising Colombia coffee. So what they do is they hire an ad agency. The ad agency is called DDB Worldwide Marketing Group. And so they go to Colombia, they start getting prepped for the advertising agenda. And what they do is they look for someone to consult with who knows the coffee region and everything. So they consult with a young man and they ask him all about it. And he is no other than the young boy, Jorge Gutierrez, whose father was saved by the mule. And that's why the mule is with Juan Valdez.
Oh my God! Oh, and this actually supports Chris's story as well, because that was around the 1960s, and Colombian coffee often comes vacuum packed. I mean, oh my God, this is so good. Okay, Darren, it is your turn to tell your story. Oh wait, we should go to our contestants first because that was too good. Chris, what do you think about his story?
I think DDB marketing clearly stands for Don't Dare Believe It.
No.
Darren, your thoughts?
I thought it stood for like dodo beans or something. So I'm with Chris on that.
Dodo beans.
Oh, geez.
Oh, don't believe it. All right, Judge Tastic, what are your thoughts?
I think it stands for Dum Dum Buddies. He thinks we're Dum Dums and his buddies, both of which are incorrect. Let's see. How long does a mule live anyway? What's the lifespan of a mule?
It's longer if you vacuum pack it.
Adam's story is actually making me start to believe Chris's story. If Chris's story isn't about dehydration more than it is vacuum packing, then maybe Chris is telling the truth, which doesn't bode well for Adam or Darren.
Wow. So Chris's plain Jane story might be beating the heck out of these crazy tales. So we shall see. Okay, so our next contestant, we are going to have the last and final round will be Darren Humphrey. Go ahead and your story begins right now.
All right. So here's the thing. We don't really know how this really weird custom came about. There's several possibilities, like the idea of jus prima nocta, which you might remember if you saw the movie Braveheart, where the king or someone gets the first night with a woman. Or this other idea that it was wrong for a family member to spill the blood of another family member, including a man spilling his wife's blood, which is why they thought maybe you should have a stranger do it for him because he's going to bleed a little the first time. What we do know is this is really messed up. And if you don't vote in November, it will probably become law here too.
Oh my God, that's interesting. Well, he's so controversial here, but I'm in agreement. Okay, so the protection of women's rights was not necessarily a huge thing. However, if they're really going by the don't, I mean, are you talking about breaking of the hymen, the bleeding? Is that what you're talking about? Oh, okay. That was a thing back then. It was a really big thing back then. So I don't know. All of this stuff is very plausible. Adam, your thoughts?
I think at this point, Darren's just trying to frighten us into believing him. I'm scared now. I will definitely be voting. And I guess, sure, his story's legit, or else I'm going to pay the price, or some woman I know will. It's terrible.
Oh, that's horrible. Let's hope not. Chris, your thoughts, please.
I still come back to that train station in Babylon, and I don't see women, as Carlos pointed out, standing there and just taking a coin from a person. They are very good at saying, "Whoa, like pass by me." They're so crowded. You could use other people as shields. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it.
Oh, I wonder. It must have been awful standing in line. I cannot even imagine. Judge Testant.
Darren's fanfic has taken a dark and freaky turn now.
Yes.
And hey, I don't want to yuck your yum. It's your thing. It's great. But I'm very sus of the reality of it. Even now that I think about like the concept of lines, and would these women be standing in a line? Would they just be in like a group? Would they even know to get in a line? That even sounds sus. Not to mention all the other crazy shish that you have said since then, Darren. So you're now at the top of my list of bluffers.
Well, here's what's interesting, Judge Tastic, is that we are at the end of the game. So
ooh, I like that, Judge Tastic.
Yeah. So, Judge Tastic, are you? Let me ask you. So your final thoughts, your final rule, your final vote
Let's see.
This
story has fallen within the realm of possibility. So Chris is no longer at the top of my bluff list.
Oh.
Adam's story is so boring that I've forgotten parts of it. So Adam's not at the top of my bluff list. So I feel like Darren might be the bluffer. So you know what? I'm gonna say Darren's weird ass fanfic is the bluff.
So this is the best part of the show because one thing that happened over the course of the show is that Chris's more bland story was more believable as the crazy stories got crazier. So I don't know. There was strategy somewhere. So I don't know who's bluffing, and I don't know who is telling the truth. But you know who does? Tech Allen.
Yes.
Knows. Alan's going to tell us right now. I'm so excited.
That's right. Well,
Alan,
Gina.
Yeah.
Yes?
I had a thought. Should we
Go
ask
ahead.
everybody else? Do you guys have any more last final thoughts before we do this? Because this is your time. Otherwise, we're telling. Okay, that's a no. Okay, Alan, what were you going to say?
I just want to make sure we're ready for the whole ordeal.
I think we are.
Are we?
Guys. Thumbs up. Everybody ready?
Thumbs up.
Okay,
Say-
ladies
I
and
guess
gentlemen,
we're ready to find out who was the bluff. It could have been a multitude of people. Is it? Oh, we don't know. But could it have been Adam? In which case, I, the tech, play this music, which I'm going to turn up right now, which sounds like this. Or was it Darren? Or was it Chris? You don't know, but I do. The bluffer for today could have. I'm going to get rid of people. I'm going to get rid of people that aren't the bluffer to make way for the bluffer, which was in fact Adam. Oh, there's the music.
I fooled you mostly, kind of.
Yes, many people were fooled, Adam. Well done. Now let's bring back the rest of our game show contestants and our judge-tastic and our host, Gina.
Interesting strategy to be so bland that we don't even pay attention to your story.
Bland, the city of Bogota was on fire.
Oh, that's right, the mule. That was your story, the mule that lived forever.
But it was a good strategy to offer that another person's story was bland to throw suspicion away. That was very good, Adam. I would like to point out that Adam is often our tech, always our tech, and this was his first show actually being a historian, so I think he did a great job because you fooled the hell out of me. So,
Thank you.
Didn't fool me.
Didn't fool you? Oh. Well, I hope that you at home played along and that you were able to figure out who the bluffer was or not. And I hope you enjoyed the show. And please subscribe and like us on YouTube and Twitch and historybluffs.com. And we love you, everybody. Thank you for playing tonight, and we shall see you on next episode of History Bluffs. Have a great night, everybody. Bye.
Yes, have a great night, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and do tell your friends to like and subscribe.
Darren's fan fiction is available.